So what are we talking about today?
Well, we got lots of things. I was noticing that in the last week, they're starting to think the Ethereum Merge is going to happen now on September 15th. So they moved it up a little bit.
So okay. Well, I mean, they said September, right? They didn't give a hard date.
No, but I guess based on some factors like the rate of burn that they're doing and that kind of stuff, they can kind of do a little bit of prediction. So I don't think anything's set in stone, but I think originally it was a little further out, like the 18th or 19th or something like that. I mean, we're just talking a couple days. So, but everybody's looking forward to it. So, I mean, every little bit counts. So
yeah, well, it's great.
So that's kind of neat. That's kind of coming up. I wanted to look at this NVIDIA universal scene descriptor or description. Oh, my little menu popped up here.
Oh, is that the thing here kind of in the center?
Yeah.
Of our, okay.
So, first of all,
Omniverse nucleus. Interesting.
Well, and so Omniverse is actually a greater part of the universe. So we talked a little bit about that when we talked about the digital twin work that NVIDIA was doing with Siemens.
Right.
In that video. But the two screenshots that I have kind of to the left of it, that's a Marble Madness game that they created using this USD technology. It's open source. You can go download it. And the idea behind it is they're expanding the use of this to other companies. They've partnered up with Adobe, Autodesk, Siemens, and a bunch more people. But basically what they're doing is trying to create an open platform. So we've talked about digital twins in the last show. We talked about the map of the world and all of that stuff. So they're thinking they're going to use this USD as a way for people to create the graphics for that world, kind of like a universal engine. It was actually originally created by Pixar. They started it for making Pixar movies and all that kind of stuff. But I think the big thing is the amount of realism. So those screenshots are from a game that you can download for free. You can play with. It's just a marble game, so it's sort of like a little art studio. I was taking a look at it, and you control kind of the environment to move the marble through like a marble maze, that type of scenario.
Okay.
But the room...
Like a Rube Goldberg machine.
Kind of like, yeah. Okay. When little things pop up to kind of get in the way, like nails or something falls, or you have to move the platform up and down and keep your marble from falling off of it and all of that kind of thing. So it's the amount of realism is insane. Now, I get it, how real, how much people can take advantage of those graphics is probably going to depend on the computing power of your device. But NVIDIA is putting it out there, open source, allowing people to use this technology to build graphics. Obviously, it's probably optimized for the NVIDIA product. So I'm sure there's a little bit of motivation on their side for it too. But basically, this is going to, expand out to things like architecture and engineering and manufacturing and scientific computing and AI and all kinds of stuff, allowing people to take advantage of, this USD toolkit that they have. So it's kind of, I think it's really cool. I'm hoping, when we talk about people start layering stuff on AR or an augmented reality world, if it looks as amazing as what, are in these screenshots, I'm not sure people will be able to tell the difference. The Force Ghost idea goes away, and now it's like you're talking to somebody and they look like they're real.
Yeah. It's funny though, because there's kind of two camps. There's the people that think that we need to Force Ghost everything, and then there's the people that think we need to make it real. I'm definitely on the let's make it real side.
Sure.
But there's surprisingly few people, it feels like, that are kind of working towards that. So this is definitely an exciting thing.
Yeah.
For sure to see that. I would love to see that type of experience, when we get our AR glasses.
Yeah. And, I don't know that you necessarily have to, whether you're in one camp or the other, I don't know that you necessarily have to make something that looks, hyper realistic. But the capability is there. You can definitely make quality graphics with it. And now they're making it available for people to utilize in other tools. Like I think when you start thinking about super high definition graphics and stuff like that, you think of either video games or Pixar movies, since Pixar actually came up with it originally. But when you're just looking at stuff in general, if you're talking about a digital twin of a manufacturing plant, or maybe we talked about the VR doctors down in Brazil that help to conjoin twins. I'm sure the more realistic that looks, the better. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. So, I think that's kind of exciting. My little desktop thing keeps popping up. I don't know if it's my hands.
Yeah, I think it's your hands. They kind of do that.
They're
if you use your hands, and then it becomes a pointer, and then you just move and you select. That's it. I mean, that's kind of the struggle with all of this stuff,
sure,
right?
Absolutely.
Because we don't have a keyboard, we don't have a mouse. So like every time we have this, advancement in technology, you kind of have to figure out the UI. And does the UI, how do you interact with your environment?
Right. And make it better.
Yeah.
Well, and we actually had to talk about, some of our listeners. We had somebody comment on one of our YouTube videos about how they thought the avatar idea that we're using for the meeting was kind of, I think their word was stupid. I don't know that I would use the word stupid, but I think we can agree in one aspect that it's probably not the easiest way to do a podcast.
No.
But this is the technology we're talking about. And if people want to have a realistic view of where the technology is now, versus where it's going to be and where it's going to go, you kind of have to experience that. And the little pop-up thing, if it's popping up during the show, I just kind of click on it. It's kind of kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And, the technology works pretty good in here.
I mean, the reality is too, like, we're doing this meeting in here in this like room that we've made. But we don't have to. Like, it would be just as easy to record ourselves, going anywhere else in this quote unquote metaverse. So like, maybe to the point of your avatars are stupid or whatever the comment was, okay, fine. But how else could we show you? And, it's through this. So that's fine. But then we need to actually show them.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, what we could do is, I was about to suggest we try it in Rec Room, but that would be a disaster. At least my experience when we've been in a Rec Room. Yeah. If you're playing a game, it's fun, but if you're kind of standing around, the trolls come.
Well, that and the avatars, like, this is kind of one of those problems that you see with everything right now, everything metaverse or whatever it ends up being, is that your avatar in here looks different than your avatar in there.
Yep, that's true.
And so, like, the only way that we get to be who you're accustomed to seeing at the moment anyway is if we stay in the Horizon kind of world. And when I say that, I mean like bouncing between this and anything else that Facebook made, or Meta. Sorry, I'm just kind of stuck.
No, I hear people do it all the time. They're all like, Facebook, I mean, Meta.
Yeah, well,
It's Facebook. But.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're kind of stuck, like, either making that decision, right? Either I stay in this land or I have to, be something different. I look forward to the day when there's a lot more interoperability and, the ability to be me in, like, all these different platforms.
Right.
Because I think that would be pretty awesome. And less confusing for people who are watching us. Like, if we take your idea and go to Rec Room,
and then
my avatar looks completely different over there.
Yeah, absolutely. That will be cool. You always have that option to change yourself if you want, but being the same, so you're recognizable in both reality and virtual reality kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even from a creative standpoint too, though, right? Like, I have made this version of me here, and now I have to spend the next 45 minutes in the next program making a version of me over there.
Right.
We're like, I already did it here. Why don't you just let me use it everywhere?
Right. Well, and you actually just reminded me of something that's kind of a big part of this USD that I kind of glossed over, is a big part of it is the pieces that you make in USD will be interoperable in different applications. So one of the things that they wanted to do, NVIDIA did, is if you make, let's say, that marble and you save it as a file, a file type of some sort, now you could drop that file type in, let's say, Adobe, or you could drop it into one of their other partners that designs applications and then further enhance that. So whether you're a designer or you're part of the marketing team or whoever it is, if you've got a different application that you're utilizing, you could use any of those components that were created in those different places. Plus, you can use the tools that maybe you're more familiar with or are better suited for changing, that 3D object the way you want it. So I know you've got some marketing experience and you did a lot of stuff in Adobe, but I know sometimes you do stuff in, other programs, and being able to move those files from one program to the other and they just kind of work instead of changing the file format. And that's kind of annoying. Sometimes when I prep for this show, it's a very, very minor thing. But when I put the screenshots up here, there's certain file types they don't take. WebP has become very common. And so a lot of times I'll have a WebP image, but I still have to convert it to PNG or JPEG or something like that, to have something that kind of accepts either multiple file formats or you just have kind of one universal one. That one's even better. That idea is pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, from a 3D aspect, I feel like OBJ is kind of where it's going to head.
Sure.
I mean, that feels like the more common file format anyway, but I don't know. We need that conglomerate of folks to kind of get together and make that decision, and then they need to implement it, which maybe they're doing. I mean, this is clearly a pair up with somebody who's in that conglomerate.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. And, I think the bad thing is, and you mentioned this and then I bumped into it when we did that episode where it looked like Facebook and a group of others were all together trying to come up with a standard.
Yeah, that. Adobe was in that, weren't they?
I believe they were.
Yeah.
I think a week or two later, I saw another group that was kind of like the inverse of that group. So you had brought that up in the show, where it's like, I thought I saw a group like this before.
Right.
There's actually 2 or 3 of them, and they're all kind of fighting for what they believe the standard should be. So
yeah,
I probably should, because I can't remember who was in the other group. I want to say, like I said, it looked like the flip side of the coin. So if it was Facebook,
so
it was probably like Snap or somebody.
One group didn't have goatees and the other group had goatees.
Exactly. It was like the
conglomerate and the evil conglomerate.
It's like, oh crap, Meta started this group and it's got like Adobe in it, so now we have to do our own, and it's like, the evil doers, it's Snapchat and Microsoft or something like that. I don't know.
They're the evil ones? Are they the ones with the goatee?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know.
It's Meta. I don't know. But just using the example,
Yeah, it's funny because they're giant companies. Maybe they'll be the ones that figure this out, but I kind of wonder if it's just not going to be
I think it'll be.
There's maybe third conglomerate out there of littler guys, and they actually give a shit about working together and making something great, and instead of just padding their own wallets.
Well, I think of it as, I can't remember what the other device was called, but when Blu-ray first came out, there was something else. And then there was that war. You could buy one device or the other, and then there for a while the movies were coming out on both. Yeah. And it was like, what was the standard going to be?
Well, the problem is they both started with a B. I'm pretty sure anyway.
Probably, but I think that's where it's going to end up.
Maybe, the guys that think we're stupid that are obviously, checking us out. Tell us, what was it again? It was Blu-ray and what?
Yeah, something else.
Yeah. I mean, we could just Google it, or
we could, we just Google it and put it in the notes or something like that.
Or
and to be fair to the person, they didn't say we were stupid. They just said the Avatar idea was stupid. But
yeah.
like I said, as things get better and the technology gets better, I think we'll probably switch things up, have different avatars or different experiences, or maybe an AR world where we're talking or something like that.
Yeah. It'd be cool if our avatars didn't look like, the kind of cartoony things that they are, because they're kind of weird. It'd be nice if it was something more realistic like this NVIDIA stuff.
I will say this, we did that interview, and we got some more coming up, but we did that interview with the Velvet Capital gentleman, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name.
Brain farting on the name, yeah.
I apologize. Which their video actually is one of our highest viewed videos, so that's pretty exciting. But when he was on there, I felt like it wasn't bad though. Like doing as much, like it's easy because we do it every week to get used to talking to another avatar, but I felt like it worked pretty good.
Well, I think he was slightly disappointed that when he appeared, he was on this screen thing over here. Like instead of being
another avatar. Yeah. And one of the people that we have lined up, they're waiting until they can be an avatar. They're like, I don't want to do the screen thing. I want to be an avatar. I want to be in the room.
Right. Of course, they're waiting not so that they can buy an Oculus, because they could just go do that now. They're waiting on the next iteration.
They didn't
of headset.
Say that.
I think they are.
I think they are.
Yeah, kind of knowing who it is that we have lined up. I would be the same way, honestly. Like if I didn't have this, why would I dump money on this when I know the next thing's coming?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And it's coming soon.
Yes, absolutely. It's coming soon, probably before Christmas, and that's great. And then the next one comes like right after Christmas. So
yeah, I think the next 6 months is going to be pretty busy.
Oh, I agree
with that stuff. Like you're going to start seeing some major leaps in the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. Definitely in the year, but like I think that's coming a lot faster. 6 months.
Well, and it's going to be exciting because I think people start realizing the stuff. One of the other things that I wanted to, talk about was AR books are starting to become more popular.
Okay.
And of course, I think that's amazing. Like for people
explain that to me again. Like,
so you have a book. It's, of a more traditional book, not a digital book. So it could potentially be, something on your e-reader, but you have a more traditional book, but you have your AR glasses on. Well, that's the future. Right now, it would be your iPad or your tablet or whatever, and you would be able to hold it over the book, and then the book would, come alive as you're reading. So you get to a certain point in it, and then, maybe the T-Rex pops out, or I think in this case it's Pinocchio on the screen, but
right. Of course, nobody's using it because the portal with which to interact with that is
the iPad. I mean, if you have to hold an iPad, or your
phone, I guess, but
or your phone above it, it's kind of clunky.
Yeah, why would I do that? Because I already have to hold the book.
So, but when the AR glasses come out, you're just going to have them on, and you're not even going to think about it. And then it's even better because if the book's like on your desk, it could, be like, the little person in Pinocchio or the dinosaur or whatever can hop out of the book and roam around your desk or something. So I mean I think that's exciting. That's going to be a cool thing for schools to work with too. I mean, I wonder how long it'll be before we're hearing about schools now are passing out laptops and tablets to people. How long it'll be before they're passing out like AR glasses and stuff to kids to help them with learning. I mean,
a few years, because we've got to definitely make some, AR glasses for one.
Yeah, you have to make them, and then the cost has to come down enough that the schools can.
Yeah, but I mean,
unless they're donated or whatever.
You may not even have to wait that long. If the price could actually be mildly reasonable, it could be just like going and getting glasses.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I know the stories, the Facebook story, Ray-Ban stories are pretty reasonable in price. I mean, you go and you buy, I
mean, they're the same as any other frame, really. If
they are. If you go to an eyeglass store and you buy a name brand frame, you're probably going to pay $200, $300 anyway. So I mean, if you're wanting a pair of Ray-Ban stories, I mean, it's the same price. And that's kind of funny because I just got my glasses and I looked at some Ray-Ban frames and they were the same price, and it was kind of like, well,
yeah. I mean, they don't. It's not exactly a 1-for-1 type thing, right? Because like the smart glasses, AR glasses, that term is interchangeable at the moment. So if I get some smart glasses, the glass itself may be a hurdle.
Oh yeah, for those
That-
that are like
I don't mean
myself.
like you. I mean like the glasses have to be made by a certain company that comes out of wherever, and they cost X amount, and
Right.
therefore, glasses are more expensive, and the frames may not be themselves.
But when you factor in the lenses, and
Yeah,
stuff,
when you factor in the rest of the technology that kind of goes with that. And then I'm not saying that all smart glasses are going to operate the same way that will require special glass. I don't think that's necessarily true. But
Right.
if it is, then, then they would be more expensive
That
than
makes
normal
sense.
glasses. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
we'll have to see how it goes.
Let's
Because,
see.
I mean, I think there's a lot of different options there on how they could go about it. Some things are coming, through the glass itself, and some things bounce light off the glasses, and some shoot directly around the frame and into your eye instead of actually having anything at all. Oh, geez. I open up. See, I did the same thing.
The thing popped open.
Yeah, I popped open. Anyway, but, if it's, I don't know. It just depends on how they go about it and who kind of wins that sort of race,
Right.
so to speak.
That makes sense.
Or maybe we just jump past glasses and we're all doing the contacts because,
those are coming too.
they're coming along. So who knows?
I bet it'll be glasses for all. I think the contacts are going to really struggle with things like battery life, and I bet resolution's going to be an issue too. Like I know it's amazing what Moho has done, but I think you're going to see an issue with battery life, and then the screen resolution on those is incredible for the size. So don't get me wrong. But it's still not. They're not to the point that they're putting like hyper realistic graphics on there. So
right.
But the first glasses probably aren't going to do that either. They're probably going to be more heads up display-ish, but we'll see. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get
Next
surprised.
6 months though.
Next 6 months we'll know what's coming out.
Yeah.
I'll be excited about all of it. I mean, honest. So
Yeah, totally.
So
What's this icon that you have on our board?
So that's the logo for Ansible Labs. With the merge coming up, I saw these guys started a company that's working on off-ramping your crypto. And what I mean by that is one of the things that we've talked about is the decoupling, or what's the other term that's being floated around for
I don't know.
when crypto becomes more currency instead of an investment.
Right.
And one of the issues that's preventing it from getting there is being able to use it. Being able to spend it. So they are the two gentlemen on the screen. I want to make sure I get their names right here. Are Dan Mattis and Matt Van Houten. They both come from Visa, so they have experience with payment systems and that kind of stuff. They are developing an application that will hopefully allow people to take advantage of their crypto with lower fees and faster transactions. They're trying to, from what I can read, it's kind of like a lot of these. They just did a fundraise of $7 million, so the details are a little foggy. But it sounds like they're trying to do on-chain stuff. They're not trying to be like more like a wallet, where they're kind of storing it, and that's it's in a liquidity pool or something like that. That's allowing for the faster stuff. So that's kind of exciting. The idea that they are looking at ways to allow you to utilize your crypto faster and take more advantage of it, so you could spend it. Now their focus is purely on, as they put it, the off ramp. So you already have crypto, it's on chain or it's in your wallet, and you want to spend it now. That's their focus.
Okay. Well,
is just on that. But they've got a $7 million raise that they just completed, and they come from a company that knows all about payment systems, so they're familiar with it. I believe it was Dan who actually worked on the crypto side of things before he came over and started Ansible. So he's got experience with crypto as well. So they kind of sound like they know what they're doing. With the merge coming, it'll be nice to be able to, there may be faster transactions already happening there. And then if they have a way to kind of speed things up a little bit on their side too, that could be pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's part of the puzzle that has to get worked out. It's not just like the merge from Ethereum is part of the equation, but it's not
Mhm.
all of it.
Right. It's not all of it. So it'll be cool to see how they tackle that. And, it's another one of those we need to kind of keep a note on. I joined their Discord channel so I can kind of follow it, and maybe we can get them on the show and have them talk a little more about it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll have to, put some feelers out for that. But I'm excited to see how they do that, because right now it is an investment. People talk about it like it's an investment. And not that the idea of it going away is an investment, because people invest in money markets and that kind of stuff too, ever goes away. But, for, I think, a wider adoption of crypto, it'll have to have that ease of use, quick
Yeah,
quick way to
definitely.
send it. So
Is that them up on the board?
that is them
Looks
and their
like-
logo. And
One of them looks like the guy from The Hangover, like, and Shallow and stuff. I forget his name. I don't know. I'm horrible with names.
that's okay.
Is that all we had for today?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, on that note, then, subscribe,
Yep. Leave us a comment.
and we'll
Follow
catch you on
us.
the next one.